You're listening to Emerson Whitner's NXT Report on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. My name is Emerson Whitner, and this is your NXT audio update for Wednesday, September 9th, 2015. NXT, as you're listening to this, was last night, mostly recorded from Full Sail University with one exception, which we'll get to, and is the continuation of the Dusty Rhodes Classic. Now to update you on the Dusty Rhodes Classic, for those of you who may not know, it is a 16-team single elimination tournament on NXT. Most of the matches are going to happen on the NXT television show, but as we saw last weekend, quite a few of them have happened on NXT house shows. So to give you a quick up-to-date, the winner of tonight's main event between Finn Balor and Samoa Joe versus the Lucha Dragons will face Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy, who defeated Angelo Dawkins and Sawyer Fulton. Dash and Dawson defeated Tucker Knight and Elias Sampson, so they'll take on Blake and Murphy. Actually, they'll take on the Vaudevillains, who defeated Blake and Murphy. I wrote that down backwards. The Hype Bros advanced, defeating Noah Kakoa and Alexander Wolf. And Jason Jordan and Chad Gable advanced last week, defeating Neville and Solomon Crow, along with Rhino and Baron Corbin defeating the Ascension. And Rhino and Corbin will meet the winners of the match between Tyler Breeze and Bull Dempsey versus Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. So let's jump right into it from the beginning with our first of two women's matches, which was the first one up was the Queen of Staten Island, Carmella, going one-on-one with the debuting Peyton Royce. One of the jokes leading up to this for the last few weeks was, would you pronounce Peyton Royce's last name as Royce or Hoyce, like Hoyce Gracie? Nope, it's Royce, pronouncing the R. And this is actually Carmella's anniversary here on NXT, as just 1 year ago was when Enzo and Big Cass got her fired from being a hairdresser. This match was actually pretty decent, and at the end of the day was the better of the two women's matches. They exchanged backslides. Carmella at one point did the moonwalk, which Corey Graves credited to Michael P.S. Hayes. Peyton got a near fall of the Fisherman's Suplex, which the announcers called a "look at that." The fans aren't as anti-Carmella as they used to be. I think it's perhaps they're stating their hatred for Eva Marie. This was actually, like I said, it was a pretty decent match. Carmella won by hitting the STO and then making her submit with a leg scissors. Finn Balor and Samoa Joe had a meeting backstage, getting ready for their tournament match. Joe handed Balor his championship belt, but not before taking a long look at it. So that's something to look forward to in the future. Nia Jax is coming soon. Probably a takeover at this point. This is, I think, her fourth video package. So if she doesn't debut, I'd say if she doesn't debut next week, she probably will be held off until October 7th for takeover because, 4 video packages, especially since they're all basically the same, there's more than enough. We got our first Dusty Rhodes tournament match with Tyler Breeze and Bull Dempsey versus Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. I was going through my autographed 8x10s the other day and found one of East Coast Pro Wrestling's Donnie the Body Johnson, who did a Simon Dean gimmick on the Indies. Looking at that picture, something about him looks so familiar, so I Yahoo'd him and discovered that it's Bull Dempsey. Yes, Bull Dempsey, who was, fit at the time, doing a Simon Dean gimmick. Mind you, it was, like I said, it was Bull 10 years ago and about 50 pounds ago, but still, the man has come a long way from the Strand roller rink in McAdoo, Pennsylvania, so good for him. Bull laid on the top rope like Tyler, much to Tyler's chagrin. The fans did pop for Gargano and Ciampa. Breeze was mocking Ciampa in the early on, so Ciampa gave him a Dr. D. David Schultz open hand slap to the side of his head. The fans chanted "Bull is gorgeous" when Bull tagged him the first time. Gargano at one point speared Breeze through the ropes and kicked him in the head. This was not Breeze's night, to say the least. As every time Breeze tagged in, he got knocked down. Gargano gave Bull a kick to the back of the head, and Ciampa got a near fall with a running knee. Ciampa then locked on a sleeper hold, but Bull fell backwards and squashed Tommaso against the mat. Gargano tagged in and drop-kicked Breeze off the apron, so when Bull went for the tag, no one was there. Breeze then pulled himself up under the apron, but Bull collided with him when he went off the ropes for something, and Ciampa pinned Bull with a roll-up. After the match, Breeze attacked Bull and beat him down, including giving the big man several kicks in the ribs and then a supermodel kick. Backstage, Sin Cara cut a promo in Spanish, so Kalisto translated it. Basically, they want to win the tournament, and it's an honor to be wrestling Samoa Joe and Finn Balor. Devin interviewed Dana Brooke about her upcoming match. Dana said what bothers her is that she had to watch Bayley become the women's champion instead of her. Dana wants to be known as the best wrestler NXT has, and she had a snafu. She said she wanted to become the NXT champion and not just the women's champion. She takes offense to people thinking she only has her spot because of her body and her face. Keep in mind this is WWE, and 99% of the people in WWE have their job because of their body and their face, but let's ignore that for now. A Ty Dillinger video package aired. In case you haven't heard, he is the perfect 10. Dana Brooke then wrestled Billy Kay. Billy Kay is also from Australia, like Peyton Royce. Rich Brennan said that Billy Kay was tall, which led to Corey Graves being his obnoxious self, and I swear I'm going to start muting the audio, because it's just getting absurd with Corey Graves. Dana used some unique moves, including a headstand elbow drop and another headstand where she used her foot to choke Billy in the corner. Billy got a near fall with a Hurricanrana and a boot to the yap, but Dana picked up the win with her sit-out Death Valley driver. Apollo Crews did a promo saying basically he had nothing to talk about, but he referred to the fans as the Apollo Universe. I'm sorry, I got that one wrong, the Apollo Nation. Wow, I should delete myself there. The little girl who they always show in the crowd, dressed like Bayley every week, met the new champion and got a tour of the Performance Center, and that led us to our main event, live from Providence, Rhode Island, quote-unquote live. Finn Balor and Samoa Joe versus the Lucha Dragons. This match was taped a few weeks ago, a couple nights after SummerSlam when SmackDown was in Providence. Ironically enough, I was actually going to go to the show, but ended up not going, because at the end of the day, it's SmackDown, and nothing important ever happens on SmackDown. And in fact, if I were to go back and reread the results from that show, I bet I was right. I do find it interesting and actually kind of cool that they're taping some of these matches in different locations. Hopefully they keep it up. Tom Phillips and Jimmy Uso were the commentators, and all I gotta say is at least it was better than Corey Graves. The fans were dead for 90% of this match, but they were actually chanting awesome during the opening lockup, and then sat on their butts for the next 7 minutes. They did pop when Balor did his dive over the top rope, but like I said, mostly sat on their hands. The match did only go about 8 minutes, and most of that was with Balor and Joe on offense. The Dragons got in a little bit, but this match was disappointing to me. I was expecting much more considering the talent of the 4 men in the ring. The fans finally woke up when Joe got the hot tag, but actually died when Kalisto hit a really nice tornado DDT. Joe went for the muscle buster on Sin Cara, but Sin Cara fought out of it. Kalisto actually got a believable near fall with a Hurricanrana, but Joe did, and Balor picked up the win, first with Joe hitting Kalisto with the muscle buster, and Balor coming off the top with a coup de grace. So that's it for this week. NXT was, a decent little show. It was fun, inoffensive, like it is most weeks. Feel free to go out of your way to watch it. You might want to skip the 2 women's matches because there really was nothing to them. But yeah, that's it for NXT. So if you enjoy listening to the sounds of my voice, check out the Wrestling Outsiders podcast on TalkShoe.com, or just, follow me on Twitter at TheReallyRealEW. I post enough links for it every single week. But thank you for listening. Take care, and I'll talk to you again in 7 days.
You're listening to Emerson Whitner's NXT Report on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.